Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mary and Martha podcast. We are joined here today by Tasoni Missy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure for you to be here. Go ahead and introduce yourself for us, please.
My name is Missy Abouelkheir. I'm married to Abuna Benjamin. We're not from Austin, but we serve in Austin, Texas. And I have 3 amazing kids. My daughter is 30 and she's in Houston. George is here. I'm going to get this wrong. It's bad, and this is being filmed. George is 26. Nicholas is 22, and they're with us in Austin, and they're both in the health. All 3 actually are kind of in the healthcare field.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
I hate when people ask me that
No,
question.
okay. We can skip it.
Because we don't have to skip it. The reason I hate it is because I'm busy all the time. And then when somebody asks me that, my mind goes blank. And I'm like, actually, I don't know what I do. What do I do? I don't work outside the home.
Okay.
I do serve in church.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
That's perfect. Perfect answer. And how long has Abuna been a priest?
11 years.
11 years.
Give or take.
Great. And how long were you married before the calling came?
We were married in 1993.
Okay.
And he was ordained in 2013, the end of 2013. So do the math. 20 years.
You are not Egyptian.
I'm not
Are
Egyptian.
you?
No.
Talk to us about that.
My mom is of Lebanese descent, but she was born here. My grandparents were born in Lebanon. And my dad was kind of like a Heinz 57. He was a little bit of everything.
Nice.
Northern European, American Indian, everything but Irish.
That's great. So how did you and Abuna meet?
We met at Texas A&M University in College Station, and we were both always in the library. Did I tell you this story?
Studious. No.
Yeah, you would think. Okay, so that's what I thought, actually. So I always saw this really cute guy in the library. I was always in the library studying, and I assumed naively that is what people do in the library. And he was always carrying around this really big red book. And so, again, that's like another piece of evidence that this person is studious, right? So I'm like, all the things. I finally was introduced to him. I was so happy the day that I was introduced to him because really, he had caught my eye. And and later on, I discovered that he was in the library all the time, but they were playing cards on the second floor. And and it was a dictionary. It was an Arabic English dictionary that he had. That
he was learning English?
That he was carrying around.
He was still learning English?
I mean, his English was great. So I don't really know why he was carrying it around. I don't know.
That's great.
It's a library. It was a book. I'm not really sure. So, yeah. But that's...
it worked.
That's how... Yeah, it worked.
That's great.
Yeah. And then we had mutual friends, and then just kind of progressed after that.
Nice. So when did the calling come, and how did that kind of affect your life at the time?
So Abuna and I we were faithful, but neither of us knew anything really. We were very uneducated. Even though he had a good foundation from growing up in the church, I had grown up Catholic, and I really didn't know much. And as we were getting closer to God in our marriage, so we had gotten married, and as we were getting closer to God in our marriage, it was a great time. I was going to the mailbox one day, so this is not the calling, but I was going to the mailbox one day 10 years before anything happened.
Okay.
And I don't know, the thought hit my head, what would be the most ironic thing that God would ever do? And the thought came like, oh, you'd make him a priest. And I just started laughing as I was like going to get the mail. And then I came back in and I totally forgot about this little conversation that I had in my head. And then we had kids. And as the kids started getting older, they wanted to go. Abona's parents came and lived with us, which was definitely like a precipitous for going to church more, because the church was in Houston. And what we did typically is we would go like once a month to the English liturgy, you know.
Yeah.
The Our Father was in English, really nothing else. But then we started going to church. Abuna Yunan had come to Houston, which was amazing. And our daughter wanted to go to kids camp. And I said, well, she can't. Like, I didn't want her to go without one of us going. And I had 2 little ones at home, or 1 little one, Georgie was there. And so Abuna went. And like, that was how he got into service initially.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he just became a Sunday school servant, and like the rest is history. Like, God just kind of took off after that. So how'd the call come? Abuna called him in, said, yeah, asked him.
Yeah.
And then my Abuna Ben talked to me about it, and I was like, I remembered the conversation I had in my head. I started laughing. And he's like, so what do you think? No, right? Like, and I was like, how could I say no? Because the man comes alive when he's serving. Like, he loves to serve. So how do you say no to that? You can't say no to that.
Yeah.
And especially if it's serving God, then I have a belief that God is going to take care of everything, right? Even though I still have anxieties and, you know, on the little things like will get to me. But at the end of the day, I know God's going to take care of things because he doesn't leave his children alone. So, yeah.
Very nice. So it seems like it was quite an easy decision. But I know it's not. I know it's not an easy decision, but it seems like you had an immediate response that like, yeah, let's do this. So
Yeah.
how do you think, like, what do you think brought you to the point of understanding that this is a calling from God and he will take care of him?
I didn't have to get to that point. So that's like the belief, right? So if my Abuna and Tassoni are watching this, they're going to be like, she is not revealing the truth, because that was true. The answer really was a yes. But then all the questions, right? Like, am I going to like where we're going? Are the kids going to be okay? How? All the questions came after that, right? Abuna had run a business, and like, how is that going to happen? How is all this going to play out?
Yeah.
All the hows and the planning and all of that. So while on one level, I definitely believed that God was going to take care of everything, on another level, I was responding in a very human way and scared. But Abuna Yanan sat me down and would remind me numerous times, like, Missy, doesn't matter, you're here, you're there, you're in the car with God. Your job is just don't get out of the car. Just stay for the ride, and you'll see. Like, just don't panic. Don't, you have faith. You've always had faith. So stay in the car and see what happens. And that was like such a great lesson. Yeah. Such a great lesson, because when my emotions would get a little high, I would remember what he said, and I was like, okay, I don't know. All I have to do is stay in the car. I'd remind God, like he needs to be reminded. And here we are on the other side of it, and God takes care, and it was wonderful, and I love where I am, and I love our congregation, and so it's all good.
That's awesome. Very beautiful. Okay. You talked about Abuna starting in Sunday school and all of that. Is there any specific service that you are a part of, or how did you also get to this point? What services?
So I told you before that I wasn't very knowledgeable. And then part of my zeal is that I learned so much before I actually entered the church. I mean, I had to enter the church in order to get married. That's not the way to do it. It's not a good idea. But I did. I mean, honestly, like Abuna and I talk, and our benefit to people is that we made all the mistakes so they don't have to. That literally is our service. So we came through, like, we had Protestant friends who really helped us in terms of like reading the Bible, and they were very instrumental in our growth. My brother, very instrumental in our growth. Not Orthodox, neither one. And then we were in a group of people, and you know, between the Protestant world and the Orthodox world, there are some things that are mutually exclusive, right? And I've always been a truth seeker. And I saw those things, and I was like, okay, we can't keep straddling these two worlds, right? At some point, we are going to have to make a decision. And I had asked God, like, I don't care where your truth is. I just want to know where it is so that we can be there fully. And I completely expected that the answer was going to be that it was in the Protestant world, because the people that we were living with were so faithful. Any little thing that they learned, they would like change their life in order to adapt to God's way. And so I just assumed like that really this is where the church was. And then I studied and I read the church fathers, and I learned all the things that I had judged about the church that I didn't believe in, one of which was the priesthood. How ironic. That's why I was like, what the most ironic thing that God could do. And
That's great.
so I learned all this stuff, and then I was so zealous because I was like, okay, like this is the place where the treasure is. Why are we not on every street corner sharing this with everybody? And I really wanted the people that I went to church with in Houston to like see all the amazing things that I was seeing. I didn't want them to just be in this palace and not appreciate like the palace that they were in, because they were so used to it. Anyway, so I started serving in high school. Yes, I started serving in high school, and then went from there to college, and nice. I'm still in high school and college.
High school and college.
Yeah, nice. And premarital, and we have like a mixed couples group at church. That's for people like us, you know, to kind of help the one who wasn't Orthodox. Not just the one who wasn't Orthodox, but really to help the whole couple integrate in the church and to be able to tease out things that are cultural and things that are like theology. Right? Because there are things that are theological and they're like non-negotiable, but there are some things that are cultural, and it's just an expression, and that's not, you know, right or wrong. So,
Yeah. So I don't think you mentioned what church.
I didn't.
You didn't.
Holy Cross in Austin.
Holy Cross in Austin.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking a little bit before this recording, and you kind of mentioned that it's not an American, like, Coptic church, but it's, like, kind of in between.
Yeah. Holy Cross.
And I think you just mentioned that with the cultural thing. So, like, how do you guys balance that?
Holy Cross is, like, the best place that we could ever have been, because there was a community there for like 20 years before we got there. There was like a group of very faithful Copts who were there, right? And they used to go and pray in San Antonio. But because there wasn't a Coptic church right there, they had to be acculturated. Like they had to be in American culture. They had American friends. They were very comfortable around Americans because they didn't have an option, right? And then their community grew, and they had different abunas who would come like every other week and serve them, but still they were interacting within the community, right? So they already like were kind of Americanized. I'm not saying that like it's the thing to
Yeah.
be, but when we got there, it was very comfortable for me. And they're so welcoming. Like as a community, they on their own are so hospitable. When people come in, they don't know them. It's not a why is that person here?
Yeah.
I mean, you may have that question, right? Because that is a question. It's a Coptic Orthodox Church. Like, what brought you here today? But it's a curious, like, what brought you here today? As opposed to like, why are you here? Mm-hmm. It's two different things.
Yeah.
And they were so welcoming, no matter who walks in the door, and come and stay with us and have lunch with us and we want to get to know you and you get to know us. And so they already kind of had that. So it's very, very welcoming. And our church is kind of like the Church of the Nations, because we have Egyptians, we have Eritreans, we have Ethiopians, who, even though they have churches in our city, their churches are still in their language, and they want English for the kids to be able to actually know the faith. So that's very forward thinking of them. And then we have lots of converts. So all different nations with us.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great services being done. Yeah, I love that. Okay. We're going to talk about you as a Tasani, a priest's wife. Do you like being called Tasani?
Not really.
Okay. Priest's wife?
I mean, anything. Yeah, servant. Okay.
Servant.
And I think the reason is because I don't really have a concept of a Tasoni. I mean, I had a Tasoni, right? But even then, I didn't. I was like, what exactly is that?
Yeah.
And so when Abuna was asked, and I sat with Abuna and Sayedna, and was like, okay, what exactly like is my role? Like, I might cause problems because, like, I don't really fit the role. I'm a Yankee to begin with, like, so I have some rough edges, right?
Yes.
Like, are you sure? Like, he's definitely equipped for this role.
Yeah.
But like, I'm part of the package. So, are you sure that this is what you want? And Sayedna put me at ease. Abuna had said this also, but Sayed, when it came out of Sayedna's mouth, it really put me at ease, because he was like, listen, whatever services you did prior, if you want, continue in those services.
Yeah.
And if you served a lot, serve a lot. If you didn't serve a lot, don't serve a lot. But be who you are. And I was like, okay, but like, you're sure? You right? And he was like, be who you are. So,
Yeah, I think that's the point. Life doesn't change in the sense of service.
And that's so that part of my coming to a new church was seamless. That part was like same service, different church.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a very easy shift over.
Nice.
And I still don't know what a Tasoni is, to be honest. Like, I really don't. And what was really good is, because I'm American, I got a pass. Right?
From being called Tasani?
No, I got a pass from any kind of expectation, because like, if I did something stupid, they were like, it's okay. She doesn't know. Right? And if I, like, no matter what, they would be like, it's okay. Like, she didn't grow up in the church. Like, we'll have some extra grace for her, which was really great. And they
nice.
And they didn't expect that. I think that sometimes when you know something, you've grown up with it, it's familiar, you do have expectations.
There's a certain
right?
standard, yeah.
But they didn't have that for me. So that was also awesome.
That is awesome. That's very nice. Okay. I know we said, like, in service-wise, like, life doesn't really change. If you were already serving, you're still serving, things like that. But what do you think has been the most rewarding part of Abuna, like, being a priest for you as his wife?
That's a good question. And when you sent me the questions earlier, I struggle with this a little bit, because I'm like, okay, what is it? Would this be the same if he were not a priest or not? And I don't think that this would be the same if he were not a priest. It is the perspective that I get to have that I wouldn't have had otherwise. That while I'm a bit of a slow study, is really helpful in terms of understanding where people are coming from, and being exposed to different cultures. I mean, I would have been exposed to different cultures anyway, but to be exposed to them like in an intimate way, and to see how God works through all these different ways, and in the different forms, and how, you know how like cities have personalities. Have you ever experienced that? Churches kind of have personalities too, and cultures have personalities. And to see, like, with the Ethiopian and the Eritreans, just how respectful they are, and how convicting it is for me when I see that. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't give you the respect that you deserve. But even though it's convicting, it's also encouraging.
Yeah.
And I think that if he were not a priest, I mean, I would be able to see that just because of some of the outward ways, but to actually talk with them, many different groups of people that I would not have had an opportunity to had he not been a priest, and that they would share things, real things, and to see God working in those things. That's the best.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. I would usually ask about the patron saint of your church, but your church is Holy Cross. I usually ask what is a characteristic that we can learn from as servants, as young women, whatever it may be. What is a characteristic we can learn from them, right? But we can still learn from the cross. So, Holy Cross, what is something that we can take from the cross as servants or as young women in this world that we can benefit from and try to instill in our daily lives?
It's okay to suffer. It's that is the, like, that is kind of like what we're called to do in order to be able to get the new life, is that we have to go through some suffering. I think that our culture sets us up to kind of be perfectionists and to expect certain things, and when those things don't come, we kind of become activists, which I understand. Like, I have that pull in me as well. But when I'm reminded that the path to real life is suffering, it's like, okay, I can endure this. The thing that shifts is because I'm not talking about me. I'm saying the thing that would shift for all of us is because we're not living before men, that we're living before God. And because of that changes the entire equation.
I feel like everything you said is like, you always direct it back to having God on your mind. How did that happen? Because sometimes it's hard, like, we're so busy with our daily lives, like, it's hard to remember him sometimes, or to remember that he's there.
Honestly, from when I was little, I heard the gospel at an Eastern Nazarene vacation Bible school. And maybe even before that, because I grew up in the Catholic Church, God was always real for me. And I don't know how that, so to answer your question, I don't know, but he was always real for me.
Yeah.
I questioned the church a lot. I made judgments on the church a lot out of ignorance, but I never questioned God. And my parents, while they also maybe weren't as educated in the faith, what they knew, they were so faithful about. And I remember when I was little, I had some anxiety, and my mother would tell me, like, Missy, just give it ask God to help you, and then he will help you, and you'll see. Like, you do your part, and then ask God to help you. And that was such a big lesson. I mean, I have like anxiety about stupid things, like, right, I have homework to do and I have to vacuum, like really ridiculously small things that in my mind, those two things couldn't happen because they were going to take so much time. Typically, it was always around time, right? And then I remember one time, in addition to all the times when she would tell me to pray, that she said, God is in charge of time. And I was like, okay. So I would ask him, and then somehow the things would happen. So you would think like I wouldn't get stressed out still, right? So anyway, I have my kids to remind me now for that. But even from then, and I would see, like, I made a connection that, okay, I asked, and I know I didn't do this thing. So that was God. Yeah. So I came that way. I don't know.
Good parents.
And good parents. Yeah.
Good parents to instill that in you. Yeah. Okay. 2 more questions. So being a priest wife, what is maybe something that you learned prior to? I mean, I know you said you didn't really grow up in the Coptic Church, but like, was there someone that taught you some things so like you held on to that so that when the decision came or when the difficulties of priesthood in the family came, like you were able to keep what that person told you, or able to use that to help you like overcome that struggle?
What Abuna Yanan told me, to stay in the car, like that was such a piece of like of wisdom. Even though I know it's ridiculous, like stay in the car, right? That's not wisdom, but it is wisdom. It is. Because of what it represents. That I, like, any opportunity that I have with the college kids, I share that with them, because I think that we only have, again, about perspective, we judge things too early, and I'm myself included. Even though, like, I may know this, I don't always remember it. We judge things too early, and we make decisions based on those early judgments, which isn't always helpful. And if we just stay in the car and allow God to take it to its destination, that we'll see that at the end of the day, he's always faithful. And that no matter what it is, that he's going to do it out of love for us. So just to try to remember it.
Yes, stay in the car. And then lastly, if someone were to approach you saying that their husband is being called to priesthood, what advice would you give since you've been in that boat?
Like they've accepted? Or were they
maybe
coming,
they're still
like they're weighing their,
still
like,
debating.
So I'm not going to lie. There are some challenges that come, right? I can't imagine a more influential position, honestly, than the priest in a community. And like his, and as a wife to him, the support that you give him for him being able to do his job. You know, like in Malachi, God is rebuking the priests because they compromised and because they, like, they were living with the people. They weren't living with him. And the detriment that does to a society when the priests aren't doing what they're supposed to do, it's not a light thing. It's not a change in profession. It is a calling from the creator of the universe to help save people so that they can live with him. Like, I can't imagine, and I know that there are people who don't want to do this, and I understand that. Like, I'm not judging anybody.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine anything that's more influential. Like, we look at other things as if they're influential, right?
Yeah.
But they're all worldly things. How much better can it be than to, like, be able to support somebody in their journey to live with God forever? Nothing else, nothing compares to that. Like, money's going to go away. Clearly, beauty is going to go away. All health is going to go away. All these things are going to go away. God is never going to go away. And love doesn't go away. Yeah. So I would definitely encourage anyone to I don't want to tell anybody that they should,
Yeah.
right? But to prayerfully really consider it, and consider their reasons why they don't want to.
Okay.
Like what it is that would be keeping them from saying yes.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
It is a blessing. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy that we got to talk to you today.
Me too.
Thank you for coming on.
I love when I get to see you every year.
Oh, thank you.
Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, and Mary has chosen that good part which will not be taken away from her. Luke 10:41 and 42.